Hey everybody, it's No More Op4 here. Today taking a look at Ontario Knife's RTAK-II survival knife. This knife is by far my favorite survival knife that I do own. Maybe my favorite knife that I own, period. As you can see, it's got some mileage on it. I don't want anyone to think that the damage or use that it has clearly gotten says anything about its quality, because it has really been through a lot. I use my survival knives to the full extent, and this knife has really held up well for me. I've owned it for about 1.5 years, maybe 2 years, taken it on about 12 or 13 trips with me, and it has performed flawlessly throughout that time period. You know, between batoning wood, chopping through logs, being dropped around camp, you know, obviously cutting rope is not even a challenge for this, but just every possible kind of campcraft activity that you could think of, this knife has performed for me, and it's performed well. So I don't want anyone to look at it and say, hey, this knife's beat to hell. You're damn right it's beat to hell. I've taken it out so many times that it's like a third arm for me, basically. I love bringing this knife out into the woods, and I rarely ever go out in the woods without bringing this knife with me. As a matter of fact, since I've got it, I don't think I've gone outside on any sort of outdoor trip, whether it be hiking or camping or hunting, without this knife in my pack or in my buddy's pack. And that speaks to its quality in itself. Just getting to the general specs of the knife: 10.25 inches long for the blade. Overall length is 16 5/8 inches. Weighs 2.2 pounds. It's got a finish on there. It's kind of like an OD green color, zinc phosphate finish, I believe, which is not an uncommon finish for survival knives to use. It's got a full tang on it, and it does come with a sheath, as you can see. Some people kind of hate on the sheath. I like it. It's got kind of a makeshift MOLLE attachment system on here. You can thread it through, and it will attach well to any MOLLE gear that you might have. It's also got a little front pocket here. You could probably fit a magazine in there, but more realistically you might have a flashlight, or maybe even like a little whetstone sharpener in there for the blade itself. You know, a lot of different options there, but I like the sheath. That's just, personally, I like it. Anyway, the purpose of this knife, again, is really for anyone that's looking for a full-sized survival knife. This is really something that you should check out. I have never had any complaints with this, from batoning wood to chopping through logs. Again, basic campcraft, anything that you could possibly use a knife for. You know, other purposes too. I mean, you could, if you had to, if this was your only knife, you could very well use this to clean game with. If you did manage to get something for yourself to eat in a survival situation, you could certainly use this. Hopefully on a larger animal. This might be a little bit overkill for smaller game, but it'll certainly get the job done regardless. That point is super sharp. And even defending yourself in a survival situation, you stick this in the throat of a bear or a coyote, they're not going to be very happy. So definitely useful there. The blade itself is 1095 carbon steel, and even with the mileage that it's been through for me, the blade has held up extremely well. I didn't sharpen it previous to this video. I actually don't know if I've ever sharpened this blade, which is kind of amazing considering how much use it's been through. And I'll inlay some videos here for you of me batoning wood and etc. But it's done really well. Again, batoning wood, cutting through logs, even after that extensive time, and it's never been professionally sharpened. Maybe just trying to think back right now, I don't know if I've ever run it through just a little handheld sharpener. I may have, but regardless of that, never been professionally sharpened, and it's still held up extremely well for me. The blade is still extremely sharp. Had it in all sorts of temperatures, from cold weather to extreme hot. You know, heat really doesn't make a difference on the knife, but I have seen inferior knives break, both in my own experiences and hearing from other people's experiences. Chipping happening in extremely cold weather. Not the case with this knife. On some of my trips in the past couple of months, as it's been winter, I've had this in single-digit temperatures, snow and ice all around, and this knife has not failed me. Has not chipped, has not broken. You know, been a great knife for all-around survival. Definitely should be something that's considered for you if you are in the market for a survival knife. Not sure, you know, where it really falls in with other competitors. I know there are some other knives that are a little bit more expensive out there, and they are, I'm sure, good knives as well. I am looking at probably purchasing another one, looking to purchase another one, not because this one is, you know, inferior to any reason, but just because I like to buy other gear. I like to have lots of gear. It's kind of a problem, but anyway, about 90 bucks for this, I believe I paid. You can find it online for that price, maybe even a little bit cheaper, but some other blades, like the, I believe, SE Junglist blade, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but that is a similar blade. It's got a little bit different kind of shape to it. I think it's more of a parang than a full tang, but that is, I believe, closer to $200, which is, needless to say, expensive. I can't speak to that knife's quality. I do know that that brand is a pretty good brand, though. I'm sure it performs well. But this, you know, this for me has done everything I've needed it to. I've put it through the gauntlet as far as being in the woods. I give it my seal of approval. You know, I've used this extensively. I mean, mainly what I use this for when I'm out in the woods is heavier work with wood, from batoning wood to cutting down smaller pieces from fallen dead wood to make myself a fire, and then batoning that wood. You know, this knife has performed extremely well for me. It is my favorite survival knife that I have. Really can't speak more highly of it. There really just isn't, you know, there really isn't anything more that I can say. It is a great knife. I recommend it to anyone that's looking for a survival knife. It will not let you down. One thing I did want to talk about additionally was the handle. I like the handle. I have big bear paws, and it allows me to get a very solid grip on the knife. There are some knives out there that, especially in the colder temperatures, when you're smacking down on wood, trying to cut wood for a fire, that will really reverberate through the blade to the handle. And if it is a smaller handle, or if you don't have a good handle on it, your hand is going to pay the price and is going to be very unhappy. But I have no complaints with this. I guess there have been some people that don't like it. To me, it works. Maybe if you have smaller hands, this might not be the knife for you, or maybe you need to just wrap some sort of coverage over the blade handle. You know, that might be an option for you, just to kind of try to take some of that smack away, because I know that could be uncomfortable, especially in the cold temperatures. But again, great knife overall. This is No More Op 4 reviewing Ontario Knife Company's RTAK-II. Gets my seal of approval if you're looking for a survival knife or just a general knife to add to your survival kit. This is definitely something that you want to check out. No More Op 4, guys. Hope this helped. I'm out of here.